to my YouTube channel. My name's Madupa and I'm a corporate professional. I work as an economic analyst at an engineering company in the economics team. And today's video is going to be about my master's experience. So I'm going to talk through why I did a master's, what my experience was like. And by the end of the video, I'm just going to give my general take on it, advice, and whether I would recommend people to study this master's or a master's in general. So stay tuned. So the master's I studied was an MSc in Finance and Econometrics at a Russell Group University in London. So prior to this, I actually did I got a first class degree, economics degree from the University of Northampton. So essentially my idea was that, after I finished my degree at University of Northampton in economics, I really enjoyed it, but I really wanted to just increase my analytical skills. In general, my personality is I love education. I love to learn more. I love to challenge myself. Hence why I felt like if I did this particular master's, finance and econometrics, at this particular uni, this Russell Group uni, it will provide me with that, that challenge, just gain more insight into the finance industry, apply my mathematical skills. And I also thought it would give me an edge like in the employment world. But so in general, that was just my take on everything, because I wanted to leave university just making sure that I do actually have all the skills required. I didn't want to leave university just thinking that someone had a better knowledge more knowledge than me, within the economics field. And I know with economics, with jobs in the economics field, as in such as investment banking, finance, consulting, they require people to have very strong analytical skills. So essentially that was my thinking behind going into this master's. So my first experience went from the first lesson. I could already tell that the students that were in the class is very, very different from my undergrad. First of all, I was at Russell Group University. So the people, the students in the class, in the school in general, were very serious. Not that the ones at my university, like my undergrad, weren't serious, but they took it very, very seriously. So that's the kind of people you're surrounded by. They're extremely driven. So some of these students already even have a master's. So I met a particular individual. She already had a master's in economics, and she was also studying a master's in finance and econometrics. You had individuals that most of them already did their undergrad at that university, so they already had a take on what they already had an edge over me, because obviously they've studied similar modules, so it's kind of like a smoother transition for them. And you had people who they were already working, so they're already in the working world, but their company sent them to this uni to for further study, so to help them in their employment. So you also had people who came from Oxford University who were studying there. So I just want to paint that picture for you. So going into a master's is serious. Don't think you're there to have fun. Everyone there is they've got their heads screwed on. They know the kind of jobs they want to apply for. So most of the students that studied this course, they ended up working in the industry that they desired. So it was investment banking, insurance, consulting. You even had there was actually a particular individual who studied the master's in finance and econometrics and also went to a university. After that, actually went to another university at LSE, I believe, to then study another master's in statistics. So my idea is just to paint you a picture of the type of people I was surrounded by. Now, in terms of how the lessons were structured, it's very similar to your undergrad. You have your lectures, your lecture, and then you have a seminar. So you have a 2-hour lecture and a seminar. So nothing different in those terms. The only thing is the style of teaching. So you have the professors, and they want to get straight to the point, so they don't slow down. They kind of just get through as much material as possible. And you're learning much, like, very advanced things, and you're going through a lot in those 2 hours. And people ask questions, they can put their hand up, but they can't stop for too long and answer your questions. You'll probably have to see them in their during their office hours. And whereas in my undergrad, they can stop the whole lesson and go into detail and answer the questions for you. So essentially, if you have a question in that moment, whatever answer they give you, you would just have to go with it, or then speak to them outside lessons if you still don't understand. So I'm not going to go through all the modules I studied, just give you a general overview of the kind of modules I was studying, the main ones. So I had econometric modules, so econometric A, financial econometrics, and you had the econometrics for macro and finance. I did investments, international finance, macroeconomics, time series analysis. Yes, I believe I just mentioned all of them, but yes, so essentially those are the modules that I studied. Now in the first semester, everything was going it was okay, but the module I found most difficult was econometrics. So essentially that was something I found extremely difficult and I struggled with. It was very hard to kind of grasp the concepts of it. So, I did economics at undergrad, but because of the university I went to, we didn't do econometrics. I think the only kind of we did statistics, but it was very basic. So we never did econometrics. And, a lot of the students who are coming from, obviously, Oxford University, who did their undergrad at the actual uni, they already had exposure to this. So just to paint you an idea again, my mindset and what I was witnessing and how I felt in that moment. So I did my first exam in econometrics, A, I believe, yeah, and I believe it was worth 20%. So yeah, in the first semester, all the exams I did or assignments I did were worth 20%, and I failed the exam, and I was absolutely gutted. I couldn't believe it. I felt really, really sad every single time I had econometrics lessons. I would want to skip it, or I would leave the lectures early because I never understood anything that was going on. I just felt I felt dumb. I felt silly. Like everyone around me, understood everything, and it was very hard to take notes because he would go through the lecture so quickly. He will go through things. He will say really advanced things because these are really advanced topics that he's going through. The lecturer is going through, and you can miss things very, very easily. So it was very, very difficult for me to take notes. So essentially, I had no notes. So when it came to second semester now, we're now preparing for the final exams that are worth 80%. And again, second semester I had other econometric modules that I had to do, which was financial econometrics and applied econometrics. And I was just thinking, how am I going to do this? What have I done? Why did I choose this master's? I should have just left with my first class and just gone to get a job. Why did I choose to do a master's? So that's all the things I was just thinking. I was so upset because I just believe that I was just thinking, I don't understand econometrics A. I failed the first exam. Now, second semester now, we're now preparing for final exams that are worth 80%. And I have these other modules that are also econometrics. I'm just thinking, what am I going to do? So, bear in mind, for econometrics A, I had no notes. So, my advice, definitely, even if you don't understand what the lecturer is saying, obviously in hindsight now, even if it doesn't make sense to you, in that moment, just write everything down. Write your notes. Write everything down. One thing I noticed is that when you come to start revising things, things start to make sense. You can ask questions. You have something to work with. So you can say, okay, this is what we did in lecture 1. You can compare notes with others, or you can go to the lecturer and then outside lesson and ask them and okay, so these are the things you mentioned in the lesson. Oh, this doesn't make sense to me. I believe I missed this out. Or is this is this what you said in the lecture? So you have something to work with. Trust me. You might think, wait, I'm writing things down, it doesn't make sense, I don't get it. Just write everything down, because with econometrics A, there wasn't the way the lecturer taught that module, there wasn't any presentation slides for me to watch, for everyone to watch. So everything he was doing was just writing on the board, and then at the end of the lesson it would just clean it off. So you can understand. So if you don't have any notes, the only thing you can refer to is the textbook. And exactly, the textbook is even much is very, very complex. So I was basically stuck. And essentially, what I decided to do was that I noticed that there was a student there that was I think she did her undergrad at that at the university, and I noticed that she was always on job in lectures, like she understood everything. And I just built up the courage to because we had a group chat, I was able to find her number in the group chat and drop her a message and explain to her that would you do tutoring lessons with me? I'll pay you £10 an hour. And she went for it. So every week would meet up and spend 1 hour 2 hours doing econometrics. So she was basically going through her notes, and I'll be like, she'll go through her notes and I'll write down everything, and she'll explain everything step by step, slower. And I couldn't believe how much I understood things much better than in the lectures. And it just goes to show that in life, nothing is actually too difficult. If someone actually has the time and effort to puts in the time and effort to actually, share the knowledge with you, explain things to you, you will understand it too. But because I didn't have that background, I hadn't done econometrics before. The lecture was going really, really fast. There wasn't notes that I could refer to. So everything was so complex. So I didn't understand. But yeah, she explained it really well. I think we only had about maybe 5 sessions. So, and then obviously as it gets closer to exam, obviously I'm trying to meet her more and more, but she was busy. She said that she couldn't meet me anymore because she had loads of exams to study for herself. And so I was just left with the notes, and the notes only covered, I believe, half of the syllabus. And I was thinking, this is not enough for me to pass. Because to pass masters in the exams, you need to get 50%. And if I only know 50% of the things, and it's not guaranteed that I'm going to get 50% of it right, and it's not even guaranteed that what I've learned, everything will come up in the exam. So I was still thinking, there isn't a good chance of me passing this. What can I do? What can I do? So essentially, all the notes that we went through together, when we met, I made sure I understood everything. I read everything. I memorized everything. What I did was that I went online on YouTube. I looked at some of the econometrics topic. So I looked at some of the topics in the module Econometrics A online on YouTube and wrote down those of the notes. I kind of I compared notes with other people. I kind of took some of their notes as well, and essentially I was able to pass the module. So in the exam, I believe I got 50 or 55%, and guys, I was over the moon because I did not believe that I could pass that module, because I was even telling my parents, I'm thinking I'm going to fail, but yeah, I passed the module. I was amazed. This just shows you that you can't only rely on lessons. Sometimes when you don't understand something, you need to go the extra mile. You need to talk to people, maybe take some tutoring lessons, share notes with people, meet the lecturers outside class to ask more questions to get more clarity. And obviously, while I was struggling with these econometrics modules, I was also struggling with another module called time series analysis. And it was similar to econometrics, slightly different. Again, I didn't understand anything that was going on in the lectures. When the lecturer would go, I would go into lesson, sitting down and prepared to learn everything like that, and I will not understand anything that was going on in the lesson. Now, with that module, the way I tackled that problem was that I met the lecturer outside hours. I was really honest, and I just said to him that listen, I don't understand anything that's going on in the lesson. I'm confused. I'm unable to do the homework. I see everyone else doing the homework really well, getting really good grades with the homework, like getting really good marks with the homework. And yeah, I was very honest, and he, honestly, the most amazing lecturer I've ever met in my life. He was amazing. He so his office hours, I would go to those office hours. I think I'll meet him once a week, and literally he will go through the whole every lecture we've had. He will go through it in like on one to one. So essentially it was like he was lecturing me, but it was a one-to-one session. It was amazing. I was able to understand everything from beginning to end. I used that time to ask him as many questions as possible. He told me the most important things the things I meant to know in preparation for the exams, what I need to know to pass the exam. It will just go through all the steps with me. He will go through the homework, the seminar questions he set. It will go through it with me. And for that module, I got a merit. I was over the moon. Honestly, again, it's all about using all the resources that are available to you. So yeah, so that's how I dealt with econometrics A. That's how I dealt with time series analysis. The other modules the other module I struggled with was applied econometrics, macro and finance. So it's applied econometrics and in brackets macro and finance. So it's one module. I struggled with that one. Again, in lectures, I didn't understand anything. And now now it was getting closer to exam period, and I was thinking, how am I going to do this? I don't understand anything that's gone on in the lessons. What do I do? Now, with masters, I don't know if it's every university that does this, but they do record the lectures. So what I did was that I actually sat down all the lectures, or I think I didn't go through every lecture. I think maybe 60% of all the lecture videos I went through from beginning to end. And I was able to replay. So things that I didn't understand, I was able to replay it over and over again. And literally I just sat down on my computer for like 8 hours straight. I was listening to all the lecture videos again. And let me tell you guys, when you sit down in lessons and you listen to the lecturer, not everything goes in. You need to listen to something maybe 2, 3, 4 times until you fully understand the picture. So that's what I did. It helped a lot just watching back lecture videos. Trust me. What I didn't understand anything while I was in lecture, but going back through the lecture videos again, I was able to pick up a lot more things. Again, I wasn't totally like, oh yes, I understand this 100%. You can sometimes with the masters or with anything, you can't always understand something 100%. It's just about understanding the most important things that will help you pass the exam. So that was the way I was thinking about it. And another thing is that closer to the exam, he also he released some exam papers, like past exam papers. And what I found with that module, applied econometrics, was that the exam papers were very similar. And yeah, the exam paper was so the fact that I was able to watch the lecture videos and pick up some key information, be able to understand the a lot of the things that I didn't understand before, write down my own notes, going through the exam paper, and also the fact that the exam papers were not too different from each other, I was able to pass that module as well. And with financial econometrics, the way it was taught was different from econometrics A in that there was now like lecture slides, so there were more simple notes that I could go over. He provided a lot more seminar questions, and that was it. With econometrics A, there wasn't, with the first econometrics that I studied, I struggled with, there wasn't like a lot of seminar questions it was given out. So it was very, very hard to practice. So that's what made it difficult. Whereas with financial econometrics, there were a lot of seminar questions that he was giving out every week. So that helped me a lot. So I was able to make sure I just did all of the questions, because these are questions that could potentially come up in the exam. Like almost certainly the seminar questions, a few of those questions would definitely come up in the exam. So that's what happened with financial econometrics. So I'm very, very grateful for that. So overall, I passed my masters. Those were the modules I struggled with. Other modules were not too difficult. I was able to go through them quite easily, such as investments, international finance, macroeconomics was okay. So you will find modules that are actually quite straightforward, and a lot of your undergrad comes into it. But then there are some modules that are extremely difficult. You probably haven't faced it before in your undergrad, and you have to work a lot harder. So yeah, that was basically my master's experience. I know this video was a bit all over the place, But essentially, my advice is that when you're doing a master's, make sure you know the reason why you're doing it. Is it relevant to where you want to go to in the future? What career path you want to take? And a master's is also great if you're trying to transition into a different career path. So, for example, I know people who did maybe psychology or economics undergrad, but then they do data science in your masters. So masters is really, really good because there are some, if especially if there's specific companies you want to work for, they will not look at you if your degree isn't strong enough in terms of analytically. If there isn't a lot of numeracy in it, they might not consider you. So a master's is really great in that aspect. I believe my master's has actually made me a lot of employers are actually very pleased when they look at my master's background. So it does provide that, but at the same time it's very challenging. You need to know why you're doing it. And I think another thing that's useful is that, you know, sometimes it's good to just go into employment and wait. So sometimes companies can actually pay for your masters. It might be that you might do a masters that's extremely relevant to the company you're working at, and the company might pay for it. So that's why I would tell you to wait as well. So just make sure you have a good reason as to why you're doing that masters. I believe anyone can be successful with a master's, but just be prepared from the beginning. Be on job. So that was my experience, because I believe that if I actually, in hindsight, if I actually started, like for example, watching all those lecture videos from the beginning, so once you've gone to a lecture, normally the lecture videos I think is available the next week. Just make sure you just keep on top of the work from the beginning. I believe my grades would have been even higher if I was looking at if I was doing all these things from the get-go, if I was watching the lecture videos back from the beginning rather than doing it closer to the exam period. Try your best to get your hands on seminar questions or exam papers as early as possible. I know some like with my university, they don't make it available until closer to the exam, but you can find some of them online. And if you have a module where they don't provide exam papers or seminar questions, definitely make up questions. So whatever lecture notes you've been given, try and make up a question from those notes, or even go to your lecturer and ask them, oh, can you give us some questions that we can practice? I think that's very, very important, and I don't see any reason why they would say no to that. Make sure you just coordinate with other students, because you know, if you're at Russell Group University or wherever university you're at, you're just going to have someone there, a few people there who actually are really, really good. They understand everything in that module. So try and talk to those people, try and talk to those students. I know it could be nerve-wracking or it could be embarrassing, but when it comes to getting good grades, I don't think twice. I don't care if it's embarrassing. I will ask for help and speak to lecturers. You might get a lecturer I know not all lecturers are the same, but they will still add value in some way. If you go up to them, ask them questions, as many questions as you can. If you're confused about anything, ask. You can even get lecturers that, you know, will help you one-to-one and actually give you, because with my experience, the lecturer that helped me one-to-one was extremely valuable, and it's the reason why I believe I was able to get a merit in that module. So that is the end of my video. Please comment, like, subscribe. If you have any questions below, any suggestions, please comment down below, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.